Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting of the Wareham School Committee to order. It is Thursday, May 1st. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast by WCTV and audio recorded by Jamie Wixton. Would you please stand for the pledge? I don't know what the flag is. There's no flag? I guess well, there is, but I think we'll think of a flag in the
It's in our hearts.
Yeah, exactly. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tonight we have, it's a great evening. I look forward to this every year. It's a recognition ceremony celebrating the years of service of the dedicated employees of the Wareham School District. Tonight we're going to be honoring people with 20 years and 30 years of experience in the district, and those 5 individuals who are retiring from the district this year. So I want to just thank them personally for your commitment, your long-term commitment to the students of Wareham. I'm going to turn the ceremony over to our Masters of Ceremony, Dr. DeAndrea.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt DeAndrea. I am Superintendent of Schools. I would like to welcome you to Wareham Public Schools Recognition Ceremony. As the chair said, tonight we will honor staff who have been employed with our district for 20 years, for 30 years, and those who are retiring. I would like to begin by recognizing our staff members who are unable to join us this evening. Jackie Tricker, Maggie Cuppins, and Brian Fitzgerald have been with the district for 20 years. Terry DiFilippo and Jean Hamill have been with the district for 30 years. And Andrea Schwam, Sue Johnson, Paul Barnett, and Deb Ballard are all retiring this year. Please give these folks a round of applause. So as we go through our ceremony, I ask that each employee, as we speak about you, come down and join us at the podium for your recognition. And we will start with the elementary school and employees who have been with the district for 20 years, so please welcome the principal, Bethany Chandler.
Thank you, guests, school committee. This is one of my favorite evenings. I get very emotional and excited about talking about these colleagues each year. And we're going to begin with Mrs. Sarah Davis. So Sarah, come join us up front here. We are celebrating Sarah's 20th year at the Wareham Public Schools. Mrs. Sarah Davis began her career here at Wareham at West Wareham School. Yes, she did. At West Wareham School, Sarah served as a kindergarten teacher. There, she met another brand new teacher named Lindsay Kelleher, and soon they began a professional working relationship that has lasted 20 years. You'll meet Lindsay in a minute. They are both here tonight celebrating their amazing professional careers. Sarah is a dynamic teacher. There's no doubt about it. She brings her teaching to a new level with her ability to collaborate and her amazing educational research skills. She, along with Lindsay Wolf and Mrs. Tricker, brought the science of reading to our school. They prepared professional development where their classrooms were packed with staff wanting to learn more about the science of reading. The thoughtfulness, organization, and clear communication given at these workshops for our teachers parallels exactly what happens in their classrooms each and every day. Sarah is a data-driven professional who strives to ensure that every child achieves the benchmark set before them. This mother of 4 and a mother of a flock of chickens never gets her feathers ruffled or puts her eggs in one basket. Her professionalism and love for teaching have affected the lives of so many children in Wareham, not just those assigned to her classroom. Wareham Elementary is so fortunate to have this true professional educator. Congratulations, Sarah. And now, may I invite Lindsay Wolf to come up. This is the partner of Sarah Davis, by the way. We're missing Miss Tricker, who is actually the third musketeer, but that's okay. Lindsay Wolf. Miss Wolf also began her career at West Wareham School, where she was also a kindergarten teacher alongside Miss Davis, and now a grade 1 teacher. Her collaboration with Mrs. Davis and Miss Tricker, as said, has made an incredible impact, not just in their own classrooms, but on our entire school. Lindsay is a professional who has an incredible love for teaching and an even greater love for her students. Every student, every day is Miss Wolf's motto. She has adapted her teaching in every way to meet the needs of her incredibly diverse group of students. And when a student has a challenging behavior in Miss Wolf's class, she sometimes puts her hands up to me and says, "I've got this," and she does. This mother of 2 children is not only a teacher, but a marathon runner who has said to me over and over, "Bethany, we can do hard things." Perseverance is her middle name, and the children of Wareham are so lucky to have her, and so are we. And now, may I invite Miss Deanna Semple to the stage up here. Well, if Lindsay's middle name is Perseverance, then Miss Deanna Semple's is Passionate. Miss Semple is celebrating her 20th year as a physical education teacher. I say Miss Semple's middle name is Passionate because she has shared with me how passionate she is about physical fitness. Deanna teaches not just how to be an athlete, but more importantly, how to be a good sport. Competitiveness is a part of athleticism, and we should celebrate both our wins and congratulate others if we lose. These are the life skills that can't always be taught in a classroom, but it can be taught in the field. Another passion of Miss Semple's is the Wareham Education Association, in which she has been the president for several years. She works tirelessly to fight for what she believes is important. This mother of 2 is not just a physical education teacher or a union president, but an avid Warehammer, socialite, and derbier, who loves traditions and taking amazing care of her amazing family and friends. Thank you, Deanna, for your incredible efforts, hard work, and your commitment to your hometown. Okay, and may I invite Principal Cote to the podium. Thank you all.
Good evening, everyone. First, we're going to celebrate Mr. Jeff Gately. Please come forward. Jeff has worked in Wareham for 20 years. He started at Minot Forest and then a little bit reluctantly moved to Wareham Middle School. I have had the pleasure of working with him for the last 12 years. He is always a dedicated teacher that is extremely student-centered. Jeff creates and implements lessons that are standards-based, but that are fun. Kids love to be in his class. The fun part is not always an easy task in ELA and social studies. What I appreciate most about Jeff is that he always takes care of any issue or situation that may arise. He will say to me, "This happened, and this is what I'm going to do to resolve it." It is easy to be his supervisor, especially since he's always proactive and has solutions figured out before he even comes to see me. I appreciate Jeff, and I know that if I need anything, I can rely on him. Thank you so much for your 20 years of service. Principal Palladino.
I'd like to call Richard Cleveland, celebrating 20 years of service to Wareham High School. Come on up, Ricky. Take it slow, take it slow. Dr. Summeroff is not here. That's what he said. It's an absolute honor and a privilege to recognize a remarkable member of our Wareham High School family, Mr. Ricky Cleveland, for his 20 years of dedicated service. Ricky's journey began in the early 2000s as a substitute custodian right here at the middle school. I was lucky enough to have interviewed him for his first custodial job at Wareham High School in the late winter of 2005. From that interview, it was clear that Ricky wasn't going to be here to clock in and clock out. He was here to make a difference. On March 30th, 2005, he officially signed as a second shift custodian at Wareham High School. Since then, his dedication, attention to detail, and commitment to excellence have never wavered. His leadership qualities quickly became apparent, and he was promoted to lead custodian on August 28, 2015. Then on March 31st, 2022, Ricky became the head custodian at Wareham High School, a role he continues to carry out with pride and professionalism today. Anyone who walks through our halls knows Ricky is more than just the head custodian. He's a cornerstone of the school. He gets along with everyone, staff and students alike, and his positive spirit has become a key part of the culture at Wareham High School. During passing, he is fist pumping the students, and during lunch, he always has a crowd of students talking with him. Every single year, without fail, at least one graduating senior asks for Mr. Cleveland to hand them their diploma. In many years, it's multiple students. And every year, Ricky will answer the call like Superman himself, swapping his custodial uniform for a gown to take the stage, and yes, this year will be no exception. Mr. Cleveland takes enormous pride in his work, and it shows in every corner of the building. Our school may be 35 years old and may be the oldest school in the district, but thanks to Ricky's tireless efforts, it certainly doesn't look like a 35-year-old school. From the classrooms to the hallway to the gym floors, Ricky's fingerprints are figuratively everywhere. Speaking of the gym, there's a tradition many may not know about. Coach Bajoli knows it. Every year on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, while many are thinking about turkey and travel plans, Ricky is there finishing the gym floor until late in the afternoon. He does it then so it has enough time to cure and dry before school resumes on Monday and basketball practice resumes Monday afternoon. That's part of the dedication I'm talking about. Today we celebrate not just 2 decades of outstanding work, but the kind of pride and commitment that inspires everyone around him. Ricky was so excited to be recognized here today for his 20-year service pin that he decided to treat himself to something special. He purchased a Ford Raptor, a well-deserved gift for a man who has given so much to this community. Ricky, on behalf of Wareham High School, thank you. Thank you for your hard work, your leadership, your sense of humor, and your heart. You set the standard for what it means to be dedicated, not just to the job, but to the school family. Congratulations on 20 years of service, and we look forward to 20 more. Thank you. All right. Marie. It's now my pleasure to bring up Marie Ferreira, Transportation Director.
Good evening. It's my honor to be able to be here to be present with, to award this to Lisa. I'd like to call Lisa Linares up. Transportation is one of the early morning risers for the school department. Our department starts at 5:30 a.m. and Lisa is there right on the button. I've had the pleasure of working with Lisa for 20 years. Every day she gets in, she's full of spirit, happy always, and that reflects in her job with the students that she transports daily. She's a special needs driver that puts her in a category that makes her personality different with each student that she works with. She's innovative with each student, and she makes sure each student has the ride that makes them comfortable and happy when they come in. I never know how she's going to be dressed, as she enlightens us with different outfits for different holidays. And she's just a ray of sunshine for our district, and I'm very privileged to be able to share this time with her. Thank you, Lisa, for 20 years. And now I'd like to call down Lynn Butler. Lynn also is one of our early morning risers. Lynn is one of our charismatic special needs drivers. She's full of energy all the time. She keeps us very well uplifted in my department. I know when she's coming to my office. I hear her on the stairs. She enlightens all of us during stressful times. She's just uplifting us with jokes. She's with the students the same way. We just love her to pieces. She also plays another role when we need something and our mechanics aren't available. She is our Miss Do-It-All. If you need a light bulb changed, she changes it. If at 5:30 in the morning the mechanics aren't there, she's jump-starting buses that don't start. She's just our overall girl, all right? And we're just very blessed to have her in the district with us and with all of our students, and I'm just so happy to have been a part of watching her and being with her for 20 years also. Congratulations, Lynn. And I'm not sure who I turn it over to. Thank you. And Bethany? Tracy?
Okay, I have a couple of people who have been here for 30 years. First up is Mrs. Helen Summers. Come on down. Helen Summers has worked in Wareham for 30 years. I had the pleasure of first knowing her as a parent. Her son and daughter are in the audience, and now her grandchildren. Then as a paraprofessional, and now as a special education teacher. Later in life, I watched Helen struggle to work a full week and take classes at night to get her degree in order to become a special education teacher. She also had a family at home as well. Her determination and stamina is evident in all that she does. She is a dedicated employee that has made a difference in many lives for the last 30 years. She builds strong relationships with her students, their families, and her colleagues. I appreciate her professionalism and her dedication to Wareham. Next up, Miss Sue Tabor. Sue has also worked in Wareham for 30 years. Boy, you're old. I've had the privilege of working all of my 30 years with Sue by my side. She started as a paraprofessional, long-term substitute teacher, field hockey coach, sports support staff for football and basketball, driver's ed instructor, and social studies and science teacher. She is currently a STEAM teacher in the Science and Social Studies Department Chair, and so much more. Sue taught me a great deal as a young teacher. Most importantly, she was a perfect role model as to how to respect students and families, and in return receive that respect. I learned one of the most valuable lessons I could have ever learned from Sue in my first year teaching with her in 1995. She taught me that it didn't matter what I taught, how I taught it, or what resources I had to teach it. Building strong relationships with students is what matters the most, she told me. If you have a strong relationship with those students, they will want to learn for you and from you. Sue will do anything for the community. She knows just about anyone, and if I can't remember them, she can. And she strives to support our youth in education, as well as supporting them in just becoming all-around good citizens. Congratulations for 30 years. All right. Yes.
Might as well stay right there. Hi again. I have the honor to speak about Tracy Cote, our middle school principal. In 1995, Tracy Cote joined Wareham Public Schools as a sixth grade teacher, quickly distinguishing herself as a compassionate educator and an advocate for every student. She took on the vital role of special education teacher, guided our summer school as both an instructor and a coordinator, and lent her voice to countless committees as advisor, mentor, and instructional leader, always advocating for collaboration and growth. In 2015, Tracy brought her vision to school leadership as assistant principal and soon became principal of Wareham Middle School. Under her stewardship, the school has become a model of innovation and excellence. Tracy's unwavering commitment to professional development and her belief that great teaching springs from teamwork have raised the bar for all of us. As John C. Maxwell reminds us, students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Tracy's leadership has built a stronger, brighter Wareham. Thank you for 3 decades of inspiration. Okay, now we're going to move into our employees who are retiring. And I'm going to start, I'm honored to speak about 2 remarkable educators who are retiring this year. And I would like to start with Bonnie LaSorsa. So Bonnie, if you would please. Bonnie was a beloved teacher at Wareham Middle School for many years. During her tenure, she was an innovative and talented math, STEAM, and social studies teacher and math department chair. She was one of the first teachers nationally to implement a flipped classroom and was always experimenting with technology integration. Ms. LaSorsa worked tirelessly to create a widely celebrated STEAM academy and implemented a working cranberry bog on the Wareham Middle School campus. She was always willing to share her experiences and presented numerous times nationally and globally. Many of her former students return each year looking for her because of the strong relationships she developed with her students. Bonnie later moved to central office where she oversaw the technology department. She guided the Wareham Public Schools through the integration of educational technology into the classrooms. Her forward thinking and innovation enriched the learning environment for all our students. Thank you, Bonnie, and congratulations. The second retiree that I'm fortunate to speak about is Jane Fondulis. Jane Fondulis, a proud Wareham High School graduate, began her journey here in 1984 as a substitute teacher. In 1996, she joined our middle school staff, inspiring young minds in both 6th and 8th grades for 16 years. In 2012, Jane took the helm of the Office of Beyond School Time, later guiding our summer programs, night school, and serving on countless committees. Whether advising a club or developing enrichment activities, Jane's tireless work and genuine care have touched every corner of our district. Jane has shown us all that teaching is more than a profession. It is a calling. As Henry Adams once said, a teacher affects eternity. She can never tell where her influence stops. Jane's influence will echo in Wareham for generations to come. Congratulations, and thank you for everything. And I am inviting Tracy Cote back to the podium.
I invite Miss Nancy Hansen down. She is retiring. I also had the pleasure of having Nancy Hansen as a parent first, too. We were then lucky enough to have her transfer from another district to Wareham Middle School as a science teacher. Nancy has taught for 25 years with 19 years at Wareham Middle School. She has a wealth of expert knowledge, and she shares that knowledge with her colleagues and her students. Nancy has also worked in many different grade levels and areas throughout her career in Wareham. She has always been willing to change positions, I've asked her more than once, in order to support the middle school and her students, and was always very pleasant about it. I have often relied on Nancy to be my sounding board and voice of reason. She will be missed by her colleagues and students, and I will especially miss not having her to listen to me and provide me with her support and advice. Retirement will be a special time for Nancy so that she can relax, travel, and enjoy her family and friends. Happy retirement. And can Jolene Mooney please come forward? Mrs. Mooney has been a dedicated employee of Wareham for 27 years. She has worked in numerous programs with countless children. She always builds strong relationships with children, even the most difficult and challenging children. Jolene is always kind and calm and supportive. She supports all of the needs of her students. I do not see many things that rattle Jolene, and trust me, we have seen many things in these last 27 years. And she just remains calm, and that helps me remain calm sometimes. I appreciate Jolene and all that she has done for our students, staff, school, and myself personally. Jolene loves the outdoors. I can remember her telling me about her ice climbing stories. Retirement will give her so much more time for her to explore the outdoors and enjoy all her fun adventures. She has told me, though, so don't fret, she has told me numerous times that she is willing to come back and sub at Wareham Middle School. So I greatly appreciate that because I look forward to hearing all of her retirement stories. Congratulations. Principal Palladino.
Marie Kavicki, if you could come on up. I know she's very excited for this ceremony. Peter and family, thank you for talking her into being here tonight. Tonight, I have the honor of recognizing someone whose quiet dedication and relentless support have left an indelible mark on Wareham High School, Miss Marie Kavicki. Marie joined Wareham High School in the fall of 2006, transferring from the middle school where she worked as a para and a sub-para for many years. From day one at Wareham High School, she stepped into a role that would define the kind of educator and human being she is. Her first assignment was to work one-on-one with an autistic student, providing the daily support and encouragement the student needed to thrive. I had the privilege of witnessing this incredible growth and achievement of the student firsthand, thanks in no small part to Marie's guidance and insistence on effort. When the student graduated, fate stepped in again. Marie was assigned to work with another autistic student who faced his own set of significant challenges. But once again, through her commitment, patience, and belief in his potential, the student didn't just succeed, he excelled. He ended up taking advanced level courses and went on to graduate from college with a degree in chemistry. A remarkable journey made possible in no small part because Marie was beside him every step of the way in high school. After seeing the incredible impact she had on both of these students over the course of 8 years, we knew we had to find a way for her to make an even broader impact. And the decision was obvious. Marie became assigned to our core academic classroom, a space that sees nearly 100 students over the course of a 2-day span. While special education teachers rotate in and out for different periods, Marie is the constant presence. In many ways, she runs that room. She's the anchor. Marie brings a unique blend of qualities to her work. She's nurturing yet firm, compassionate yet demanding, and she always sees the good in every student. Her work ethic is unmatched. She brings work home, she stays late, and she's always available to support her students. If she can't provide what they need directly, trust me, she advocates until someone can. Marie plays an essential and often behind-the-scenes role in the lives of our students. In a high school setting where students are preparing to make their next big step toward college, careers, and life beyond school, a strong support system can make all the difference. And for so many of our students, Marie is that difference. What stands out most about Marie, and always will, is that she doesn't just show up. She shows up for her students, she listens, she encourages, She challenges. She empowers. She helps students set meaningful goals, navigate tough moments, and believe in their own potential. She makes changes in students that aren't just academic, they're life-lasting. Marie, we see you, we appreciate you, and thank you for your heart, your strength, and your profound impact you've made, not just on our students, but on the entire school community. We wish you well in your retirement, and thank you for all that you've done for Wareham High School. I'll now bring back up Dr. DeAndrea for some closing remarks.
Congratulations again to tonight's recipients. I want to say thank you to all of you for coming tonight. There are some delicious cookies over there. Please take some cookies and some water. We're going to take a 5-minute recess now as folks exit. Thank you again and have a great evening.
Okay, we are back after our little 5-minute break. Again, congratulations to all those educators and staff members who contributed so much over such a long period of time. Next up is public participation. Seeing no more members of the public in front of us, we'll move on to good news. Anyone with good news within the district? Dr. DeAndrea.
Town meeting, Monday and Tuesday, our budget passed. Great news. And also McKinney-Vento passed. And then as part of the capital plan, the McDuffie Annex money to provide the upgrades passed, and also the money for the upgrade of the fire alarm system here at the middle school. So that's all great news, and thank you to the folks of the town folks of Wareham for supporting the schools as always.
Agreed. Thank you. Anyone else?
Not good
Jim?
news.
Well, then it's not on this agenda item.
It was just an update to the McKinney-Vento, but we can save that for another time.
Okay. Next, we'll have principals' reports. So we'll start with, we're going to skip over student representative report, roll that in with the high school principal. Dr. Chandler?
Thank you, school committee. This is very official. Beginning with the attendance, our attendance has really gone up, especially with students. I think that the winter sickness is over at 94.5% attendance. And with staff, 93% attendance as well. I just want to, while I speak about attendance, I have to give a shout out to Ms. Lahane and Ms. Ottaviano, our guidance counselors at Wareham Elementary School. They do a tremendous job of reaching out to families, in some cases the court systems, incentive programs. They just do a really remarkable job with all of our students, making sure that they are here each and every day. So thank you to the guidance department on that. We are currently completing our spring NUIA testing. We're looking forward to those final data points so we can see where they were at the beginning, middle, and end of the year, and provide that information for you soon. So we do look forward to that. I've had some nice conversations with students. Students are really, because we've been doing NUIA for quite some time now, it's become a practice to them, and they're sharing with me their own scores and how they've improved. And one said to me today, I got a 208, and I wasn't sure if that was, what he meant by that, but he seemed excited. So it's really nice to see that students are engaged in their own progress. MCAS testing and mathematics will be occurring in the next 2 weeks. We have grade 3 next week and grade 4 the following week. So we look forward to those results as well. We have, of course, I've been updating you on our new Read to Succeed implementation program, our incentive program. It's going on with great success, and it's just so exciting to see it We have Sally Snyder, who's a retired teacher, and she's created these butterflies. And the butterflies are gaining color as students read. They color the butterfly, and the once white butterflies are now full of color. And because of the awesome participation, I have to say thank you to Mr. Roach, our Department Chair of Literacy, who has really embarked on advertising it, getting it out, cheering on the students, collecting all the data for it. So thank you, Mr. Roach, for that. Upcoming events, we have a plethora of them. Our incoming kindergarten students will be attending the puppet show on the 8th of May. So the Beyond School Time has done a beautiful job of really implementing a lot of programming for our incoming students, and not just doing the kindergarten rally in June, but now there's also another opportunity of the puppet show. So it's just great for these kindergartners to keep coming in, not just at registration, but now the puppet show, the kindergarten screening, and we will be doing the kindergarten rally once again. We have over 130 students registered for kindergarten. I do foresee this being a class of from about 185 to 200, so I'm not quite sure, but I do think it'll be pretty grand as we continue to register them in. We have our STEAM and Art Show night. That will be held Thursday, May 15th from 5:30 to 7 o'clock. The Unified Arts Department, the STEAM department does a beautiful job. The art teachers do a great job. It is just so well attended by families, and it's an incredible community event with not just our local scientists, our fire department, our police department join in, our gardening from Marion Institute are present, and it's just a great event. So if you can be there, please do. It's Thursday, May 15th, and the staff just does an incredible job of preparing for that STEAM night and talent show and the art show. Oh, sorry, the talent show is coming up the next night. The talent show provided by the PTA will be the following evening on Friday, May 16th, hosted by the PTA. Really appreciate all the hard work that they do to showcase our elementary students' talent. Field days, that'll begin on May 19th this year. We've got our first annual spelling bee at Wareham Elementary School on May 29th for 3rd and 4th graders. I'm really excited to kick off a spelling bee at Wareham Elementary. We haven't had one, not in my tenure as school principal anyway, so we're very excited. I want to say thank you to the volunteers who have joined our spelling bee committee, and we're very, very excited for that. The students are excited too. And next week, we recognize all our teachers. It is Teacher Appreciation Week, and their tremendous work over the course of this year and every year. And that's what we have for Wareham Elementary. Any questions, ideas, comments?
I think that the incentive program for reading is great. I'm glad it's working well. Any idea like what percentage of students are participating?
I know.
Just roughly?
I wanted to get that to you as I was writing this, and I don't have it necessarily, Mr. Berjoli, but I'm going to get it for you. And I know Mr. Roach has every slip he has kept, so I am going to get that percent to you. So thank you. I've thought of it myself. I just thought of it a little too late.
No problem. Jeff?
All I was going to say is I don't think you were at the meeting last week when I talked about the literacy, the book tasting that I attended at the school and how really great that was. So now that you're here, I just want to say that again. So and I'm sure there are lots of other things going on in the school, you know, to encourage the kids to read more. Those are just a couple of them.
And that's it. Thank you, Ms. Bakayaki. I appreciate it so much. And we're going to continue to work on building programming, not just within the classroom, but I mean, it's my due diligence as school principal to create those innovative programs outside of the classroom setting to keep encouraging literacy and promoting it to keep those literacy scores going higher. So we're trying to find each and every way to do that.
What's the status of, I think it's fair to say, quadrupling the Boost summer program, staffing it specifically?
Well, the staffing hasn't changed. It's still 4. We have 4 right now, teachers for Boost. We did increase 1 staff member, and that is going to be a reading specialist who will be joining the summer program to support students who are in need of learning to read. So the support right now has gone up by 1 staff member for the summer programming. However, Mr. Sweat, we did devise a way of doubling the number of students we are servicing by removing of the 6-hour day to a 3-hour day. So we do have AM, PM sessions Monday through Thursday for 5 weeks, July 7th through August 7th.
So, last year you were servicing 60 students
Correct.
for 6 hours for that period of time, for those
Correct.
number of weeks.
Yes,
Now you're going to be servicing
120 students.
120, but you're cutting back
The amount of time,
to 3 hours instead of 6 hours.
right.
That
Because,
doesn't sound like progress to me.
well, I think it is, because I don't think 6 hours of literacy is going to always be effective 6 hours straight, I think is really long. So I think that there could have been, there's some time that I think we can compact into the planning and implementation of the summer curriculum. I think that we're going to really make a difference.
But the goal was 240. And
Yeah.
right now you're at 120.
Right, correct. So we're still doubling.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other
Anybody
questions?
else? Thank you.
Okay, I'm still here. I am going to present on behalf of my colleague, the Principal Cote, Ms. Cote, who is out celebrating her 30 years of service for Wareham Public Schools. So in Wareham Middle School, student attendance is excellent at Wareham Middle School for April, 95%. We did this too at Wareham Elementary School. The sub-separate programs, are substantially separate programs. I had a wonderful time at the Unified Sports Day at Tabor, and that happened yesterday. The Wareham Elementary School and the middle school went over to Tabor to celebrate some athletics over there. It's a wonderful, inclusive event held every year. The High Honors Breakfast at the middle school for Term 3 was well attended by families today. It's always just a very nice time. MCAS starts again next week for Ms. Cote in the middle school as well for math and science. Upcoming events at the middle school include the incoming grade 5 orientation at 5:30 at Wareham Middle School, and that happens on May 22nd. And on May 29th, the talent show at the middle school, along with the art show, will be held at 5:30 p.m. And that's the update for the middle school. Okay.
I don't think you'll have any questions.
No, I might not be able to answer them either, but I'm happy to give this information. Thank you, school committee.
Mr. Palladino.
I'll start off with my principal's report. For the month of April, our attendance for staff was 96.5%. Attendance for students was 94%. Huge increase compared to the previous month. And as Dr. Chandler said, I just think students are getting healthier, they're getting outside more, and the weather's getting better. The good news is our 8th and 10th graders are halfway through their MCAS for the year, so still many more days of testing. I'm pretty confident that from now until June 6th, every day has some type of standardized testing happening at the high school, whether it be AP, IB, or MCAS. It's fun. Some school events that we have going on. There's a lot going on. There's a busy time of year, as you heard, in both schools. We have, this afternoon, we had our scholarship providers meeting, and we're very fortunate as a district to have approximately $250,000 given to our students every single year in local scholarships. I know Mr. Bajoli was over there as well, representing a group, and that was a great event, and we'll have more. I'll give you our date on that in a few minutes. Unfortunately, because of the weather, we had to cancel our DECA community yard sale that was supposed to happen this weekend. The weather doesn't look like it's going to be cooperating. We do have a mock car crash happening, weather permitting, on Monday, May 12th. This is kind of our pre-prom week, getting the students focused on making excellent decisions, as we know they will. If for some reason it rains, we'll do that on Thursday, May 15th. And on Friday, May 16th, we have a guest speaker for the underclassmen who's going to talk about motivation and making the right decision. So a lot going on that week, culminating, of course, with the prom on May 17th, with the promenade starting at 5 p.m. The prom is happening at the Cape Club and they do an unbelievable job with the proms. This will be my 4th prom there, so it's a lot of fun, great venue, formerly called Ballymead for those of us that have been around for a while. Okay, we have our National Honor Society induction and reception happening on Tuesday, May 20th at 6 p.m. Dr. DeAndrea and I will both be there and will be speaking. We have our spring concert on Thursday, May 22nd at 6 p.m. And new to us this year, on Wednesday, May 28th at 12 o'clock in the library, we have our capstone showcase for our seniors that are involved in the capstone project. If the school committee hasn't, you will be receiving an email, but I think you may, did you already get it? It's coming. I was told the email's coming to you, so.
Okay.
You'll hear from athletics with Mr. Roderick in a little bit, but we have Wednesday, May 28th, our Senior Athletic Awards event in the cafeteria of the high school at 6 p.m. Our senior awards are May 29th at, sorry, that's not our senior, that's our underclassmen awards, are at 6:30 p.m. And 5:30 p.m. on May 29th. We do the 8th and 9th graders at 5:30 and the 10th and 11th at 6:30 on that night. Our Viking Theater has their spring musical May 30th, 31st, and June 1st. June 2nd, as you know, you approved the last a few meetings ago, the senior class is taking their trip to New York City, and from what I understand, that's going really well in regards to students signing up for that. We have our senior slideshow and cookout on June 4th, and we have our senior breakfast, and thank you in advance, because you all pay for that breakfast for the seniors, for at 8 o'clock before their rehearsal on June 5th. Also that night, we have our scholarship night that I mentioned previously, and our awards night for the seniors, and weather permitting, we're looking for a good year this year, Dr. DeAndrea, with the weather. June 6th, our graduation is at 6:30 p.m., weather permitting, on Spillane Field, and we hope to get it off on that day, but we're not going to relive that. I won't mention the year, but we will have it hopefully on the 6th, if not the 7th, same time, same place. And if it's raining both days, we go back to the high school and have it in the gym on the Saturday the 7th at 6:30 p.m. And our last day of school, as you all know, is June 16th, which is a Monday this year. In regards to some things that are going on to try and improve student learning, we have finished our 4th round of work with the ASCD, and what we've been looking at, I know I've talked to you about this before, is our co-teaching and supporting students and staff in non-supported special classrooms that are not identified as special ed classrooms or inclusion classrooms. We have finished our 3rd round of walkthroughs with LAN TNTP, looking specifically at ELA co-taught classrooms and non-co-taught classrooms with our professionals from TNTP. And again, that was 3 times this year we finished that. And that is my report for the high school for the basically the month of April, May, into the early part of June.
What's the time for the breakfast on the 5th?
8 a.m. And everyone is welcome, and you'll get an official invite when we get closer to that date.
And what is the time for the scholarship that same evening, that same day?
That's at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you'll get invitations to everything. We try not to send it out too early where people forget about it, so we'll get that out to you a few weeks ahead of time.
So the 29th, we have a school committee meeting.
I know, it's unfortunate I won't be able to be there.
You said 4:30 is the
No,
8th?
5:30 is 5:30 is grade 8 and 9, 6:30 is grade 10 and 11.
So it literally overlaps, okay.
Yeah, there's about a 15-minute break in between. But,
No, I mean it overlaps with the school committee.
School committee, yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
You've hid your disappointment very much, Mr. Pellegrino, that you can't make it to the meeting on that night.
I'm going to be here for a little while because of that right now, so just bear with me.
Just a question I have. Have you noticed anecdotally, any difference in students' attitude towards MCAS so far?
I have.
Yeah.
I have, and not just in 10th grade, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I'm hearing, it may have a trickle-down effect. I've spoken to a few colleagues in other schools as well. Again, it's not unique to Wareham, but we're fighting the good fight with that, and we're trying to put the emphasis on, what this means and what this could do for you, specifically in the 10th grade. I feel like we have a little bit of leverage with the John and Abigail Adams Scholarship that pertains to at least 25% of our students. We actually get a little more than 25% because the night school program counts towards our enrollment. So it's the top 25% of the district. So we end up getting sometimes as many as 30% of the senior class qualified. But I would argue that a large percentage of them are in a position where they could qualify. So it does impact, I feel, quite a bit of our students.
Jeff?
I shared with Mr. Palladino the fact that some of my tennis team were complaining about MCAS, and I said to them, well, how do you think the school committee should hold the schools accountable for the quality of the education they're receiving? And they immediately, without even thinking, said, that's what NUI is for, which I thought was really interesting on the part of, these happen to be 8th graders. So, you know, as they say, out of the mouths of babes.
They speak the truth.
Joyce?
So you talked about scholarships, and I was speaking to someone who was associated with someone who was trying to give a scholarship, and they got no applications.
Maybe you can email me the name of the scholarship, and I'll do a little research. But we
Okay, it's so disappointing to hear that.
that is disappointing, and I'd like, yeah, if you can email me the name, I'll check in guidance to see how it's publicized, because I'm getting the opposite from a lot of our providers.
are?
Like, yeah, like this was the best year they've had, so I definitely.
It wasn't the best, speaking for myself, so we've brought back the Midge Roby Scholarship, and very few applicants. Yeah,
Okay. If you can let me know the one that no one applied for,
I will.
certainly want to check to see
I will.
how that was publicized.
But I mean, I'm just saying in general, not just,
Yeah.
you know, so if that's the case for that one, there's probably other ones too.
Yeah, I spoke with everyone today at the scholarship providers meeting, and they all seem to be pretty happy. We had some that kind of use our internal system for local scholarship applications, and some that have an external system.
Right.
And the people, like, you know, the Mitch Roby, like you're talking about, the external applications, they were happy with it. And I mean, we had a scholarship day.
I know,
mean,
I know.
we did.
That's why I was surprised.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
everything, and we sat today on the student athlete scholarship, and I think we had 8 or 9 applicants, which is the most we've ever had. Now, obviously, that one, there's a real tight qualification to it, so it's a small group of people that can apply.
Right.
Barth, we had a good number for that as well. I think we had everyone that could, but except for one apply. They're meeting on NIE, I believe, next week, so but,
Well,
you
that's
know.
good. I'm not saying that there's anything you or anyone at the high school could have done. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying it's just unfortunate that these scholarships are out there.
Well-
And sometimes it's not the fault of the high school. I saw the pictures from the scholarship fair,
And that's
and
just
it
one
looked
way that we
great.
promote it. I mean, we have it on Naviance, so everyone has access to
Right.
it. We have, in the guidance office, we have a vertical file with hard copies of every scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
They're all in the Google Classroom, so they're available to every senior electronically. They get sick of me telling them their April vacation job is not to work, it's to fill out as many applications as you can. And we have a pretty good return rate. I tell them, if you do a good job, you'll get half of the ones you apply for, minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids, I always get a couple kids thank me afterwards, you know, after the awards night with the scholarships, and they say, you know what, you were right. I applied for 20 and I got 10. And I was like, I'm not lying. And it's free money.
I always take the handout that you give out at the end and share it with people and say, see, this is what is given out. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot when you compare it to neighboring
until
schools.
you see it, you know, you might not.
It's a lot, it's a lot. I actually had one parent say to me, one of the many reasons they keep the kids in Wareham is because the amount of money we give to the seniors. But I share your concern, because my feeling is we have all these great local providers of scholarships, and if they're running, you know, casino nights, or they're running, you know, golf outings, and they're giving up their time and organizing it and giving up a day to run it, eventually you will become disenfranchised, and you'll say, you know what, obviously there's not a need for my scholarship, why am I doing this? And we definitely don't want that to be the situation, because as we all know, the colleges are going up every year disproportionately with inflation, and it's costing more and more and more for these kids to go to school. And what a local scholarship does, in my opinion, is kind of levels the field and allows them to maybe go to that private school that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to go to, or maybe even go to that public school that they couldn't afford, or maybe be able to live in the public college that they wouldn't be able to afford. So there's a lot of great opportunities, and I know the majority of our kids that are going on take advantage of it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, now you're going to play the role of Emma McWilliams and give the student rep report. Thank you, Ms. Bellinger.
It's tough shoes to fill right there. Emma's a great kid. We're going to miss her. She'll be receiving a lot of scholarships that you'll hear as well on our scholarship night. Unfortunately, Emma couldn't be here, but she did send me her report, and she wanted to highlight the fact that spring sports are pretty much almost 3/4 of the way through the season, and they're all having some success. She listed boys baseball first, and I want to also mention they've had the first half of their season on the road because of some construction on Spillane Field that the gatemen have been doing, and we've been fortunate with some good weather that they've been on the field now practicing, and I think they have a game the 5th of May.
Yeah, doubleheader Monday.
Doubleheader Monday. We'll have to check that out. The field looks great. They won 3 in a row, and the field looks great, and they have the potential to qualify for the tournament, and it's a real young team, and Coach Cave is doing an unbelievable job there. Our girls softball team has only 1 loss in the season. They just won a doubleheader. I believe that makes them 9-1 now, and Coach Rudy is doing a great job with the girls, and they have no seniors on the team, and I think they hit 4 home runs today. They're just having an unbelievable season, and they made it pretty deep in the tournament last year, and I think they're going to have a chance to potentially fight for the state championship. So they're doing a great job. Boys tennis team is working hard. Girls tennis team had a couple of their starting number 1 and number 2 unavailable. Number 1 was at DECA, and I had a chance to see them the other day, and I think if they had at least one of those 2 players, they would probably be above 500 right now. So they're right there, but we know they're going to qualify for the states again, and they're a really up-and-coming team, I feel. Boys track and girls track are right around 500.
Girls track 3-0.
3-0. Well, Emma's got the wrong record here. I got to talk to her about that. Girls track 3-0. Thanks, Ed. And boys track right around 500. And unified track, I know they don't technically keep score, but they had a meet today, I believe, at Durfee. I haven't heard the results yet, but I'm sure they did really well. I know. Hey, they're state champions. They're always keeping track.
I was there, it went really well.
It went well?
Yeah.
Awesome. They were very excited today. I saw that. You win the state
Yes.
championship, they move you to Division 1.
Well, what they do with
Yeah.
unified sports is not based on your school, it's based on participation. So
Ah,
we
okay.
have one of the highest ones,
Right.
and that's why they.
I thought it was like the old school when you won the state championship at that level, they moved you up to the next level, even though half your team might graduate. Emma wanted me to also talk about DECA. As I mentioned, Coach Sweat lost his number 1 singles to ICDC, and from what I understand, we're going to have a big announcement in regards to the success down there. There were 13 students that went down there. 2 students attended merit, and from what I understand, 1 student placed top 10 in their category, and I think we'll have a big announcement on that. I don't want to steal Ms. Cunha's thunder. The students that attended the leadership program and had a great opportunity to learn how to improve their skills as leaders, and I'm sure they didn't mind the warm weather, although it's been pretty nice up here. We have an art show coming up on May 8th at 6 p.m. It's free. It's you kind of walk through the foyer, and they have music and art, and they have the face painting for the students, and it's a really nice event if you're available. Anytime between 6 and 7:30. I highly recommend getting in there between 6 and 6:45, but they're open till 7:30, and that's May 8th. And we also want to recognize the PTA. They were very kind this week and purchased lunch for our staff, and they bring it in 2 waves because we have 2 lunches. And next week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and we have a couple things going on next week as well to support our teachers who do such a great job for us in this district. So that is Emma's report. I can certainly, hopefully answer any questions you might have for her, or at least get them back to her.
I think we're good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, so now we have several votes from high school, for some high school trips and privileges. So we'll start with the senior prom, 2026.
Okay, I have McKenna Duggan here, who is a senior class officer, who is going to be presenting to you the application, if you will, for permission for us to sign the contract to have the prom. And I have never been to this place, so I'm really excited. I hope you support her.
Hi, so the date of the prom is May 9th, 2026. It's a Saturday. It's at the Ridge Club, which is we were going to do the Cape Club, but everyone's already done it, so we wanted to try somewhere new, and it was really nice. It's from 5 to 10 p.m., and it's 30 minutes away. There's going to be 8 to 10 chaperones. The meal is an Italian buffet, a soda bar, and an ice cream sundae bar. which is different too from the other ones. Our class size is 100, and the capacity of the event is 250. So I think that would work out with like guests and the chaperones.
I want to just thank McKenna. She and a group of students went down. Part of my requirement is they have to go and physically see the facility, so the officers went down, I believe with the advisor, but I know the officers went down, and they're very excited about this venue. And I have a couple rules that I require for proms. They cannot happen on a school day. They have to happen on a non-school day. They can't happen prior to Mother's Day or Memorial Day. And it has to be a facility that will seat at least 150, and then it has to be within 45 minutes of the high school. So those are kind of my prerequisites. And it's not easy because, as you can imagine, venues want to save Saturdays for the wedding. So I really require them to do a lot, but it's so important to have it on a Saturday because if you have it on a school day, it disrupts the whole educational process. I saw that as a teacher and I hated it. And I vowed we would never do that, and we have not done that for the last 16 years. And so it's hard. The venues kind of slam the door because they want to have that bar open because that's where they're making their money. So it's very difficult, but every year I'm always impressed. The students find a great venue, and I'm excited for this venue, and I think they've done a nice job vetting it, and I agree. We've been to the Cape Club enough. So I know McKenna's excited to answer any questions you may have for her.
What was the name of the place and where is it?
The Ridge Club, it's in Sandwich.
Okay.
Check it out online. It looks beautiful. I've never been there, but it looks beautiful online.
The picture looks beautiful.
Joyce?
So you said no more than $90 a ticket. Excuse me. Is that because you don't know what you'll do for fundraising yet, or is that the price before fundraising? What is that?
The price, I think
I think what it factored in was the meal. The wild card is how many kids. The more kids they bring in, the lower the price would be. So that's kind of the wild card, is depending on how many kids are going to be interested. But we try and keep it reasonable. With the increased cost of food over the last few years, we've been usually 80. I believe this year is 85. And
Oh, it is?
yeah, so it's the cost of the food has just gone crazy. I mean, we were 65 for about 12 years, and we didn't have to move from that. And over the last, I'd say, 3 or 4 years, we've gone from 65 to 75 to 80 to 85. I'm hoping at the end they're going to be close. It's going to start with an 8. I just don't know if it's going to be 80 or 85.
it would be cheaper without the soda bar, but we thought every kid would prefer that over
okay.
water.
Okay.
And there will be like the bar, it's like at a bar, but there will be no alcohol.
They take
Good.
everything down and lock it down,
I'm sure.
and it's just a soda pump. And the kids like it because they have them all laid out, you know, iced soda, iced water for the whole night. And I like the 10 o'clock ending time. The chaperones like it. The kids actually like it, and it's worked out really well. I've been to some proms where we ended at 12 o'clock, and it was like the last 2 hours were just torture for everyone. So this is really nice. It's a little early start, and the promenade is really awesome because most parents are off on Saturday. We open up the school, and you have a chance to see your child, their guests, all the kids that they grew up with, and have some nice pictures, and it's a nice time. It's a really nice event.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll have to take a question, Jeff?
Yeah, 2 questions. Does the price of the event, is it an impediment to kids going?
I don't think so. The price would be lower when we start to fundraise a little bit more, and if we take the soda bar off, but I don't think the price was ever an issue for any
You
kids.
think anybody who wants to go ends up going?
Yeah.
Okay, because there seems to be a lot of fundraising for a lot of things. Mr. Palladino knows how I feel about this, and I would hate to have the price get to the point of literally kids saying, I can't afford to go.
Yeah.
I think one thing in a small community like Wareham, what's really, I think it's awesome, and it's been awesome, I'm sure well before I was here. If a kid has a need, there's always a way to get that taken care of. For instance, I had a parent reach out and said, I can't pay my students senior dues this year for the graduating class of 2025. I said, no problem, I'll find someone to take care of it. Go on, one call, done. taken care of. So as long as people are willing to reach out, where there's a will, there's a way. You know, we're gonna talk about a trip in a few minutes. We've had kids that have been able to fundraise and pay for the whole trip, and in some cases have spending money. So, you know, if there are kids that struggle, as long as they speak to their advisor, that where there's a will, there's a way. We'll find it. But we never want money to be a detriment to a student being able to have that opportunity. But a prom to me is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You're only a senior once. If you want to go to the prom, you should be able to go to the prom. And honestly, the way I look at it is we'll figure it out. Maybe I'll put them on the debt list until we figure it out, but we'll figure it out. But if anyone wants to go, they go. And, you know, I don't think we could ever honestly say that, you know, were there kids in years past that haven't gone to the prom because of money? Maybe. I just don't know if we can pinpoint, you know, the number.
But it's also like, there's probably some parents and students that don't reach out, that it is a struggle for to get the money that we don't hear from, for whatever reason, pride or, I was just wondering, is there any way of using money that the senior class fundraises for to defray some of these costs down the road? Is that possible?
So,
like, I know at the end of the seniors, they give a senior gift, but really that should only happen after they've exhausted all opportunities to create more opportunities for their classmates.
Right, so there is, you know, part of the fundraising is used for this and obviously for the class trip. The tough part is, you know, there's only so much fundraising you can do. We're talking about an event that's probably gonna cost, I don't know, $20,000 when all is said and done. And, you know, that's the tough part is, you know, there's only so much fundraising you can do. But I think we do a really good job. And remember, it's not just, like, we're looking at a ticket. I don't wanna, like, create more noise here, but it's not just the ticket. It's, you know, the tux or the dress, you know, the fingernails, the toenails, the hair, maybe the tanning, maybe, you know, the flower. I mean, it's, as we all know,
imagine what the girls go through.
It's an expense. And I know it's kind of a rite of passage, but it's, you know, the $90 is just touching it. I mean, you're looking at, you know, somewhere between probably $200 and $400. Then if they decide to get a limo night, I mean, you're talking $500. I mean, this is an expensive event. And we try to do the best we can to keep the price down as low as we can. We try to use some of the fundraising, but we try not to use all of it because there's other events that are going on, like they have the cookout that they do, and they'll want to do a senior trip, and they might even want to do something that no other class has done. Stay tuned for that.
So this is the tough question. This is in the middle of the spring sports season. So my question for you is, if there was a match, not a practice, but a match on May 8th, which is the Friday before the prom, should I expect certainly all, but especially female people on my team to be there for that match the day before the prom?
Well, I think my soccer coach would expect me to still be at practice or a game, so.
So I can quote you that the day before the prom.
They might be mad at me, but yeah.
Okay.
I don't think, I don't know about you, McKenna, but I know that most of the students I talk to, they have their appointments Saturday morning, and I don't know, you know, obviously you don't have that set up yet.
Yeah.
But I think you've gone to a prom before. And,
Yeah.
And I don't think there's too many people that get their hair done on Friday night. I think you'd be fine, but if you were that concerned, AD's right here, tell them to book it for Thursday night.
You know how hard it is to share.
I know.
He
But
has,
hey,
he has a tough enough job as it is.
we own the tennis courts though, it's not like a skating rink.
Thank you, McKenna, for being here.
You're welcome.
So do I have sorry, there's another question?
No, I was just gonna make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve with the caveat that we do everything we can to keep the price down going forward.
Always.
So we were just approving the venue tonight anyway, so.
So will we hear more about this next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And with the caveat, and it will, loyalty to the sports team the day before is so expected.
So noted. So I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400. Congratulations, good luck with the prom next year.
Thank you.
All right, we now coming up to Ms. Bakyaki's favorite subject, senior privileges. Mr. Palladino?
We talked about this at school council.
Yeah.
So, I really appreciate Jamie's recommendation that we make this an annual event so we don't forget about it, and tie this in with the prom, with the senior privileges. The senior privileges, as you know, is a policy of the Wareham School Committee, and it's rewarded for behavior by allowing seniors the privilege and freedom from normal restrictions of school attendance. The senior privilege tradition is the fact that they have this as a privilege, it's not a right. Therefore, it has to be approved annually by you, and the students on the list have to be approved by me. And we have an eligibility requirement in regards to grades, attendance, discipline, and if the student fails any of these one areas, they are off the list. We look at this every term, and obviously to start the school year, we'd be looking at this term's grades, term 4 grades, and we'll have a list of eligible students posted with the dean first week of school, and there's permission slips required, obviously, because that's part of the procedure if they are going to leave the school. I had a chance this week to kind of be in the hallway during passing quite a bit, and more towards the main office. Usually I'm upstairs, and you know, honestly, even with the great weather, there's not a lot of students that are seniors that take advantage of leaving the school during senior privileges. The majority of them hunker down in the library and take advantage of the study time. These are students with a very high GPA, and in almost every case taking advanced level courses, so they need the time to prep for those courses. So most of them are taking advantage of that time, and you know, it takes time if you're going to go, you know, get a coffee or whatever. It takes time away from the opportunity to study. So a lot of them don't take advantage of that. I know that that's really the main concern with senior privileges, but these have been in place for since I was in the classroom, and I'm sure many years before that. And it's a nice privilege, I feel, for the seniors who deserve it. And again, not every senior gets this, not every senior is eligible, and they have to apply for it, they have to have parental permission. So there's a lot of steps they have to go through. And the one thing that I really appreciate with the seniors every year is they are required to stay focused till the last day of school. I remember in some schools hearing about the senior slide and the seniors just shutting down, you know, after February vacation. With programs like this, we really force them to stay focused. We have also an incentive. If they have a high GPA in the class, they don't have to take the final exam. So there's a lot of incentives for students to stay focused through the last day of school. And I think that's something that's not always out there at every school in the state. And we're very fortunate to have these programs and policies in place to support them in finishing strong. So certainly entertain any questions you may have on senior privileges.
Brennan and Jeff?
I just want to, been a long time since senior privileges myself.
I think you had them, if I remember correctly.
I had them junior year because I was in Honor Society, but, and teachers didn't ask. But if I'm to understand it, I mean, it basically just means that if you have a study hall, you can take the opportunity to leave school grounds.
Well, there's no study halls, so.
That's how old I am.
Yeah, well, they were when you were in school, trust me. I had to supervise study hall for a few years. So basically, every other day, they would have a period off. And during that period, they have senior privileges. They're assigned to the library, so they have to check into the library. Now, if they get a secondary permission slip signed, it gives them the right to leave during that senior advisory. But they cannot come back late, they cannot miss the next period, they can't miss advisory. So they have the period to go and theoretically leave campus and come back to campus.
So just so that I'm clear on it, does it ever happen where it's like the last period of the day for a senior?
It could.
So they can
All eight periods have the class, and it really just depends on their schedule and where they had an opening. So there is a senior, at the very least one senior every period that has senior privileges.
Okay, and in years past, has there been a problem?
Well,
no, I mean, I'm sure there's always one, but
anytime you have a kid, you know, the nice thing about the high school is when you have them all in the building, you have control of the students,
yeah,
right? Once you open the classroom door up, aka the front door,
yeah,
you don't have as much control. So there are you know, some concerns. You know, I don't know how many years ago it was, 12 years ago, maybe more, we had a student get in a car accident, maybe a little less with another student. We've had two, to my knowledge, in my tenure, we've had two students get in car accidents on senior privileges, and one I think I was in the classroom for, and one I was probably the principal for.
But I mean, accidents, I mean, I.
Accidents could happen anytime, any place.
But generally speaking, I mean, see,
yeah.
when I saw this on the agenda and that, you know, we need to review it, like, is there really, what's your opinion? Do we need to change anything? Is there anything we need to look at, or
No,
is this,
no.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
No, I just don't want you to get the impression that like 20 kids are leaving every single period and going out the front door. Matter of fact, what happens in the spring, which is kind of organic and neat, is more juniors start getting their licenses and they creep into the front parking lot. So if you leave, you may not have a spot. If someone's coming in late, they may take your spot. So a lot of kids choose not to leave because they don't want to lose their spot, and they don't want to park in the back because if you park in the back, you have to walk all the way to the front of the building. So it's not this huge influx of kids leaving, and you know, I could count on one hand on most days the number of students that actually leave the building. The majority of students are in the library, focusing on their studies. A lot of these kids don't even have their licenses. It's a new phenomenon now. Like half the seniors don't have their licenses. It's wild. Yeah, we used to have a ton of parking spots.
The day we could get our license.
I know. Well, it's a lot different now. 12 hours of driving. You know, you're into it for $1,000 almost for driver's ed before you even get started, and then the insurance. I mean, I could go on and on and tell you what these kids are facing for.
I know.
They're all working for a car, basically.
Jacob, nope.
So the reason, Brennan, that we're talking about it again is because it's in the policy, that we have to approve it every year. Was that kind of your question? Like, why are we talking about it again?
Well, no, but just if there was anything specific about the privileges that, you know, if we were bringing it up for a reason, if there was anything
No, it's
that,
just
like,
every
there's
year.
part of it that, you know, we might want to look into or change or anything, but.
And I just want to remind you, like, these are our best and our brightest that are on this privilege. And the kids, like, work for it from the time they're in 9th grade, and they know about it in 8th grade now, too, but really they're working for it from the time they're in 9th grade to the time they're turning a senior. So these kids are working for 3 solid years to maintain a high GPA, make sure they have excellent attendance, excellent discipline. I mean, these are our top students, and I feel, as a principal, they should be rewarded, because a large percentage of the staff's time is focused on the kids that aren't in the top, you know, of our school, because they need more support, they need more guidance, more direction, more attention.
Yeah.
Jeff?
Data. For the 24-25 school year, has any senior lost privileges?
Yes. I know that there's been at least one, and I'd have to double check, but I know at least one, yes. There has been at least one.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that a normal number, 1 or 2 a year?
I'd say 2 to 5.
2 to 5.
Because there's some that come in right on the fringe.
I understand.
And then, you know, you have a bad term and then the grades come down. But they can petition if they get their grades back in order. So say they lose it after term 1, so for term 2 they're not on it, they can petition for term 3 to be back on it.
You anticipated my question. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So do you have a motion?
Motion to accept?
Motion to accept, do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
I have to stay with tradition.
So it's 3-1-0 passes. Thank you.
Appreciate that, thank you.
All right, next up, we have annual trips.
So I hope I was able to share the document with you. And one thing I talked to Dr. DeAndrea about, we have traditional trips that happen every year. And I don't mind presenting because I'm at school committee enough, but you might be getting sick of me being at these meetings. And one of the things I thought was, these are trips that happen every single year, and obviously this would not be for the obscure Chris Gardner trip to Europe, you know, that he has going on this year. We would still come in front of you for anything that's not traditional. But this is a list of the traditional trips that happen every single year and will continue to happen. And I know when I looked at the policy, someone brought it to our attention that we should be getting these approved. And my thought was, if we could get a blanket approval for these, knowing that these are traditional trips, they're going to happen every single year, and in most times they happen at the exact same spot. The only thing that's different is ICDC seems to fluctuate, which is DECA nationals or internationals now. It seems to fluctuate between Anaheim, Orlando, and Atlanta, and I think maybe Nashville was thrown in one year, but it seems to be the other 3 cities that they happen in every single year. So I wanted to lay this out and see if there was an appetite for approving this. Otherwise, I'll be coming back to you a lot for these trips, and I don't mind doing that either, but I thought this might be good because I anticipate we'll have other trips that are going to be out of state overnight that will need school committee's approval throughout the year. As you can see, the trips kind of are all second semester, if you will, trips. January every year, we have DECA regionals. It's housed at the Hyannis Convention Center. That is traditionally the number of students. Hopefully, we're closer to 50 every year. February vacation, the Key Club goes and supports Camp Sunshine at Casco, Maine. They bring a handful of students up there, 4 to 6. March, we have DECA States. It's in Boston, and that number comes down a little bit from the regionals to 20 to 35. April, Key Club has the district conference in Springfield, Mass. Every year. And then April, our students are actually flying back as we speak from DECA, ICDC. I mentioned the locations. We like to think it's double digits. This year, I think it was 13.
Yep.
March and April, I'm going to talk to you about the DC trip here, and I believe I have an agenda item to talk to you about that in a minute. And either way, I'd still like to present that today, if possible. And in June, this is always barring any snow days after the school year. We have JROTC summer camp in Devens, Mass. And we have 5 to 8 students that attend that. And grade 11, we have Boys and Girls State, and that's in Easton, Mass. And we have a tremendous amount of support from the American Legion on that. And then we have the Hobie, which is Hugh O'Brien leadership, and that's in Waltham. And that's for students in grades 9 through 11, and we try to send 2 to 4 students, depending on how many funds we can get for the students. The Boys State, the Hobie, and the summer camp, and the Camp Sunshine are all obviously free. The others have a small fee, depending on how far away it is and how many days they're there. But these are our traditional trips that we've had for many years at Wareham High School, and again, I wanted to present them to you and see if there was an appetite for approving these as traditional trips every year.
Questions? Joyce?
So I understand what you're trying to do, and it does make sense, right? But in the policy, the student travel policy, it says that initial approval can be given, but that final approval will not be granted until all preparations for the trip have been completed, including logistical details, accommodation arrangements, and fundraising efforts. So we can approve these now, but I feel like some of them anyway, the ones that have money attached to them or fundraising, would have to come back, if we were going to follow the policy.
And I want to follow the policy, and I know
Right.
Dr. DeAndrea wants me to follow the policy. So again, I'm here enough, so it's not like you're not going to be putting me out. I don't mind coming and presenting. I just didn't know if you wanted to maybe say the ones without fees we approved, and then I'd just come back for the fees, or if you want to approve them all. You just let me know what you want to do and just give me direction. This is all for next year, obviously, with the exception of we've got the bottom 3 are still pending for this year. So you just give me a direction and I'll run with it.
So I think we should have the policy subcommittee look at that policy and decide if that's something, if they would like to change the policy in some way.
Right, maybe like have a dollar threshold, or, you know, if the trip is gonna cost more than $500, well, yeah, we would like to hear more about the cost and how the cost is being deferred, or,
I like the $500 number.
okay.
I think that would be, because that would actually, I believe that would just put ICDC and the DC trip on the docket.
And then, of course, anything additional that comes up throughout the year.
Yeah, this is not like, you know, like Madame Elaine is running the trip to Canada. Those are non-traditional. These are more every single year. These are the trips that we're doing. Anything obscure that is a 1-year thing, or maybe every 3 years, we'd stay the course with showing up to school committee and asking for approval.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I like this list. This is great.
Thank you.
Brennan?
Well, I was just going to say, for the sake of efficiency, I don't mind it, but it also, I remember, throughout my 3 years being on school committee, I liked hearing about, oh yeah, it's the DECA trip. I remember Boys State. I had a great time at Boys State. It was awesome. And, since we are, I know we're not inundated with the public here, but people are watching at home. It's nice for people to know that these trips are happening and hearing about them. So even if, it's somewhat, let's admit, it's somewhat of a rubber stamp that, we're never going to say, no, the kids can't go to DECA, or, that we're not going to let them do that trip. It is nice to have you bring it up, to hear about it, and, it's just another good thing happening in the school system, so we like when you mention it.
Okay. Well, you just let me know which direction you want to go, and I'll run with it.
Well, I mean, we could approve this list pending review of the policy at the beginning of the school year, and, you know, talk about adult, if that's something that other people are interested in.
I would ask if you don't mind at least approving for this year, the bottom three,
Right.
just so we can proceed with those.
Anyone else with questions or suggestions?
Motion to accept? Oh, sorry, did I cut you off, Jeff?
You didn't cut me off, I'm just mulling this whole thing. Dollars always impact my thinking. I like your concept of 500. There's a part of me, I know this is radical, there's a part of me that doesn't like approving trips that cost more than $500 because it puts so much pressure on the kids to fundraise. There's another part of me that says these trips are great and we should put in the budget, I know it's easy to say and hard to do, we should put in the budget some money so that if there is a trip over $500, that we could subsidize it so it stays at $500. But
That'd be
all of
phenomenal.
that is perhaps best left when we're discussing the policy itself rather than this particular list. To me, I would prefer a motion that literally approves the June trips and then we come back to this issue when we're discussing the policy itself. And I also agree with Brennan. I think the public likes to hear about these trips, and some of these would be very interesting for people to hear that their kids are eligible for going on some interesting trips.
We'll make sure no matter what is part of the principal's report either way.
Good point. So, did you want to make a motion?
Yeah,
Because my motion would be to approve the June trips.
we can do that and then talk about the policy next year. Is
Right.
that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Seconded.
So we have a motion to approve the June trips, seconded. All in favor of the June trips?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400. With the, now that we understand, the intent is that we would bring this to the subcommittee, policy subcommittee,
The beginning of the school year. Yeah, because the
beginning
next
of the
trip
year
isn't
to
until
examine
January.
the policy, to see if they wanted to alter it, to make a recommendation to us.
Right.
Okay,
And if they so wish, I would be more than happy to chime in on that meeting.
okay, great, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. So next, DC trip.
So, thank you. So, I feel at this point, with the 4 DC trips run through the high school, we have the wherewithal and the interior knowledge to be able to continue to run this as a tradition. I am looking to now step back as the lead chaperone and to defer to one of my assistant principals in hopes of making this a tradition that will last for a very long, long time. I will still be there behind the scenes to provide support in the high school for the trip, but as far as the logistical part of actually going, Ms. Cannon would be the lead, and she's agreed to be the lead, and she went with us last year. I feel like at this point I have 3 administrators that have already gone on the trip. I have 8 teachers that are still there that have gone on the trip, and I feel like we have enough people that can really take this over. Again, I'll still be there to work behind the scenes, and but we want to keep this, again, one of those traditional trips. It's an unbelievable experience. I will miss it. Everyone's like, why do you go? I'm like, because when you see the kids and how excited they are to learn about history, it's like, this is why you got into education. So it's pretty outstanding for me to have had the opportunity for 4 years to go. We like having a company that handles the payments, handles the logistics. We certainly have a lot of input, but the money never comes into the building. It's all electronically done through the home, and you know, there is a cost. They provide the tour guide, they provide the hotel, they spend the time to get to know where we're staying to make sure it's a legitimate place. They handle all of the meals and where we're going there, and it's unbelievable. And what we did this year, we had, I think, the best trip out of the 4, and we saw like 5 more. We had 5 more stops at various museums or memorials than we've ever had. So we really maximized every minute we had down there, and it was just a phenomenal trip. But I'll move forward, and we are asking for permission to run our trip on March 29th. It should say, I think the date may be wrong there, it should be April 2nd, 2026. And we estimate the cost to be approximately 900. I like when it's 800. There is incentives if people sign up early to save at least $50 from that price. And there will be fundraising. We had fundraising this year. We had a few students that took advantage of that to decrease the cost. Our itinerary would be on March 29th. We depart at 6 a.m. It's really helpful if we get going at 6 a.m. This year, we arrived in DC right at 3 o'clock at the Smithsonian Museum and started our museum visit right away. We have a great rest area that we stop at. Usually it's around 1 o'clock. We get to the Maryland House. We arrive in DC at approximately 3 again. Traffic is dependent on those times, but leaving on a Sunday, there's not a lot of traffic. Traffic's when we come home. I'll get to that in a minute. And this year's itinerary is we start at the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History. We try and get the souvenirs done right away because we want to stop at a souvenir shop that's reasonable. When you go to these museums, they all have very expensive souvenir shops. So we try to get that taken care of right away. We have certain places we like to go to dinner that have proven to be a really nice meal, and we'll work on those if we get approval. And then at night, we do a Washington, D.C. night tour, and we try and hit all those memorials. And then we check into the hotel. Obviously, it takes a little while to check in because we have to get the luggage off the bus, get the kids in their assigned rooms, let them get time to get things organized. That's usually around 9:30 on that first night that we check in the hotel. Sometimes it can be 10. We do all our breakfast at the hotel. The next day, we have an appointment for a U.S. Capitol guided tour. Supreme Court is right across the street. Library of Congress is just to the right. We do lunch at a to-be-determined location based on where we're at. We then do the Holocaust Museum and the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum. They redid the whole museum. It's unbelievable there, and you actually need a ticket to get in there. Dinner is to be determined, and then we hit all the memorials we didn't hit the night before, back to the hotel around 10 o'clock. Tuesday morning, breakfast at the hotel. Arlington National Cemetery hopefully will be accepted into laying a wreath again at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Smithsonian Museum of American History, that's going to be a new stop for them. Lunch to be determined. National Archives, Smithsonian Portrait Museum, Ford's Theater. And then I think what the kids enjoy most is having some downtime and bowl, and then have some dinner at Pinstripes. We then go to the Kennedy Center on the way home, and we get an aerial view of Washington, D.C. from their rooftop patio. Back to the hotel. Next morning, breakfast, luggage into the bus, check out of the hotel, and we spend the morning at the Smithsonian National Zoo. This year, based on the survey from the previous year, they wanted more time at the zoo, and we were able to give them more time. We stayed there from about 8:30 till 12 o'clock. The only caveat was they had to have lunch there, and then we hit the road at 12 out of there, and we were able to make it to Connecticut by 7 for dinner. So I think it was a little after 7, and we were pulling into Wareham High School just before 10 o'clock. So we anticipate the same type of arrival, again, traffic dependent, but that is our itinerary, and I would ask for your approval if you feel so inclined to give that.
So questions, particular details of the trip? Jeff?
I still think the National Cathedral is worth a stop.
We, just for you, all right, we drove by it. All right, and I said, I know there's a certain person that would love us to go inside, but I'm not sure I'm ready for that yet. But it's real close to the zoo, as you know, and we did drive by it to show them that. And we talked about the history to it as well.
The inside is even better than the...
I try and separate church and state.
No. The National Cathedral is pretty secular. Right. And there's awesome history associated with it.
We gave a little bit of the history rundown. In full disclosure, they were more excited to get to the zoo on that day.
Okay. I've said my pitch. I guess I'm now going to be known like Joyce is known for senior privileges. I'm now known for the National Cathedral.
You can talk to Andrea. She's going to be in charge.
Okay. Is there any reason this couldn't start on Saturday instead of Sunday to reduce the number of days that they would be missing from the high school and spring season? Yes, I'm focused.
I could tell. Is there any reason why? There is a cost associated with leaving on a Saturday that would increase the cost by about $150 per student.
Oh, good grief.
And
Yeah.
I would just suggest that if you left on Saturday, there's some things that aren't open on Sunday, so your first day, you might not be able to go to certain things.
Yeah, I mean, we've done Sunday to Wednesday, so I can't really speak to, I don't know if that's true, I don't know.
Well, the 150 is a big deal to me,
Yeah,
so I
that
get
was
it.
that was the reason, because the hotels, as you know, get cheaper on Sundays and weekdays versus Friday and
Okay.
Saturdays.
All right.
But I hear you, but my thing is, like, I want as many students as possible to be able to attend, and I feel like this is a perfect field trip for 8th graders, because everything they're studying, from the Holocaust to reading the Diary of Anne Frank in 8th grade, like, there's so many tie-ins, and
No, it's a
it's
great
really
trip.
powerful to hear the kids say, we learned that in history, we read about that, and I'm sitting there going, this is awesome, and they're taking pictures and doing selfies and send them, and they got the parents on live video, and they're telling them about all the places they've gone and things they've learned. It's pretty powerful.
What percentage of the 8th graders go?
It fluctuates year to year. It's usually anywhere from a third to maybe 40%. We haven't been able to get over. I think our best year was in the 40 percentile.
So what are the 60% doing back at school on those days?
Well, the 60% are in class, and the 30 or 40% they know that they have to make up the work when they come back to class. We strategically schedule it at the beginning of the term 4, so that the kids have theoretically the whole term to catch up with the work they missed. We also have to work around MCAS as well, so it's real strategic as far as the start date. This year with the holiday, we kind of had to move it back a little bit this upcoming year, but we strategically place it at the beginning of term 4.
And they're telling the tennis coach they didn't go because they couldn't afford it.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, I mean, I know times have changed, but when we did the 8th grade trip, I mean, it was one of the biggest bonding experiences for my class, and I think I think there was like 10 kids that maybe didn't go. Is there a reason why it's, I mean, I couldn't imagine, especially having gone on the trip, why it wouldn't be a much higher number than that. Is it cost prohibitive? Is it?
I think there's a lot of, I think, reasons.
Is it tennis season? I mean, what?
It could be, in all seriousness, it could be athletics for some, but, you know, the thing is, we try and get this approved now. Like, we're literally like, 11 months away. If approved tonight, we'll be meeting with the 7th grade parents sometime in May or early June. And if they sign up then, it's less than $100 a month that they would pay from now until February to get their kids on this trip. So we want to get it out early so we can capture as many kids that want to go as possible and make it as financially reasonable as possible for these parents. Yes, $800 and whatever dollars it comes out to is going to be a lot of money. But if they start that payment and take advantage, the company does a $50 reduction if they sign up by June 30th. So there are some incentives. And like I said, if they can spread it out, over every month for the next, 8 or 9 months, it's less than $100.
Are meals paid for, or is it just breakfast is paid for, and the students have to provide meals? The students have to buy their own meals?
So in regards to the meals, obviously the hotel provides the breakfast. The part of the price is the dinners are all paid for as part of that package.
Okay.
The only thing we don't do with the lunches, and there's a reason why we don't do the lunches, because we never know where we're going to be, and we want to, like, I tell them, 40 minutes for lunch. We go to a food court, I tell them what's there, so they know what they're getting, and they go right there, they get their meal, they sit down and eat, and we're back either walking or on the bus, because again, we walked, I was told, 30 miles in 4 days. Someone had one of those Fit watches, and I said, oh, we usually average 5 or 6, and they're like, yeah, you average about 8. We do a lot of walking, and again, we're trying to maximize the time that we're down there. And it's funny because the kids are like, can we just go back to the hotel? I mean, you can go back to the hotel when? We're here to tour. We're not going home till 10 o'clock. And it's literally like they come in, we give them a few minutes to settle down, tape the doors. We have a security guard that the company pays for. Usually we have a little L section in the hotel. This year we had the whole hall to ourselves. Security guard plots himself down on one end. He's got all the chaperones' numbers and room numbers. We tape the doors, and 6:30 a.m. we untape the doors, and we tell them they can come down for breakfast. We have an app that we use to communicate with everyone, and I think every parent was on the app as well. Post pictures on the app so they know what's going on. They know every step of the way where we are, when we're meeting, when we're leaving. It's really well organized, and we have some great chaperones, obviously, a reason for that.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstained. So 3-1-0.
Thank you.
All right, winter sports report?
Do you want to do a student advisory, or do you want to?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know there was going to be student advisory. Okay, sure.
Well, I can hold off. Well,
That's
my
up to you.
student advisory students are all involved in athletics and couldn't be here tonight, but I know they wanted to just let you know they're working on a few things. One that they're very proud of. Through their survey and working with the student reps, we were able to install a new water bubbler with a filling station, and they all had a survey to pick where the location was. We had, I thought they were gonna want it in the foyer, and they ended up putting it in the science wing. So we didn't have a filling station on the second floor, and they felt that was a deterrent. Kids having to go downstairs from the upstairs classrooms. So with Mike Linehan, our excellent plumber that's in the district, we were able to get that situated and set up, and it's now up and running, and the kids are excited that they had a say in that. They're also working on our handbook, which will be back in a couple of weeks to review the handbook, and they have some thoughts they've been giving us on that, and they've been speaking with the students. And the last thing, they're going to do an end-of-the-year survey, and in regards to how we can improve the climate, the culture, and the physical aspects of the building. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with for that. But it's a great group of students. It's very tough to meet this time of year with them because we're always seem to be tied in with standardized testing. So I haven't been able to see them for a couple of weeks, but I know they really wanted to be here, and but they did have their athletic events going on today, so they were tied up. So that's a very abbreviated version of their report.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Rodriguez is up now with the winter sports report.
Yes, and while Ed's coming up, I just want to thank him again for another successful year, and his secretary, Ms. Barboza. They do a phenomenal job behind the scenes, neither one working full-time for the athletic department, and just keeping things going. And I think we, as you can see from the reports, we had a great winter season, and I'm really impressed with the GPA, so I'll turn it over to Ed.
Thank you. Yeah, the winter season, the highlights would have been the girls' team basketball team won the conference championship, and it's been a long time since we've done something like that, and it was a good experience. The boys' basketball team actually, I thought, did better than what they should have done, and lost a tight game to a team that lost in maybe the state championship, the Final Four. It was good. The GPA is off the charts. It really blows my mind all the time. One team in particular was like 97. That was, it's unbelievable. As I'm doing it, I'm in shock when I have like 5 or 6 kids with 100 average, you know. So, but it was successful, and the league has been good for us in many ways as far as competition. We're better off in a lot of our teams being competitive in this league. And the boys basketball goes independent. They play a tougher schedule, but they were able to handle it. And if you have any questions, I'll gladly answer anything you need.
I know one of the reasons the decision was made to leave the South Coast was because we weren't really competing that well in many sports, and we're getting not just beat, but beat badly.
Yeah.
And the record now is like 6-8 in the league. But what would you say overall? Are the teams in most games, generally speaking?
Oh yeah, we're going to win this year probably, maybe 4 or 5 conference championships. That would never happened in the South Coast Conference. Mm-hmm. Outside of boys basketball, there was here and there could have been something. Girls tennis had that nice run, but in general, it was very, very tough for us. So now we're in the running. And most of the games are more competitive, and it's worked out. The only negative thing is there aren't a lot of teams, so we have to have a lot of non-league games. that would be the only negative thing I see about. But as far as us competing for a conference championship, it's been great. That's been very successful.
Anyone else with any questions? Joyce?
Just on the spreadsheet, I don't have it in front of me, but I know I think the cost for the season was like 124, the total cost, 124,000. So is that about what you expected it to be?
Yeah, I don't think that's, because we're in a different conference and everything?
No,
Nothing
to do with the conference.
No,
just the
that's pretty,
expenses.
that's pretty average, I think.
Yeah.
I don't have it in front of me, but I would think that's pretty normal. I don't
Well,
think
Jeff
there's
has it
anything-
here, but I know is transportation an issue? I know
Well,
some of these schools are further away that you've had to transport
well,
to.
we're lucky, as long as we can maintain our buses and bus drivers, it's much cheaper. A small example would be, we have our bus drivers going to Old Rochester, which is only right down the street, obviously. That's I don't know, I'm saying $100 to $150 to a $200 trip tops. We get an outside company just to go from here to Old Rochester, $400 to $500. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
So the main thing is, as long as we can get our bus drivers and our buses, transportation isn't bad at all.
okay,
It's when we have to go outside to these companies, because we're not associated with them, so they're not gonna give us any deals. For an example, I don't know, say Old Rochester has Amarols, okay? So
Yeah.
if they're gonna go to them or us for something that's extra, we're out. You know, we're just, if they can sometimes fit us in somehow, they'll fit us in. So that's, transportation, when we have our buses, it's extremely reasonable.
okay. And so charging a user fee wouldn't put a dent in that,
No,
what that expense is?
You guys
I'm
do what you
guessing.
want with the user fees, I like it, it's so much better without it.
Right.
I mean,
I'm not in
you know,
favor of bringing it back, just asking.
Well, I'd rather not bring it back, I just think it's when people start paying for things, they expect more, and then there's kids on the outside that, well, will I play, will I not play, should I pay for this, should I not pay for this? This way, whoever wants to play can play, and we go from there, and then there's no pressure on the coaches, like, oh, these kids are paying all this money, we gotta do, this is so much better without it.
Okay.
And hopefully, we can continue to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for waiting so long to do that.
Blame Mr. Palladino, he took all the time. Next up, Director of Finance, Kristen, with the budget transfer.
Thank you. Tonight I have a budget transfer, just trying to line up all of our line items for the end of the year. So this is the first of, for the next few meetings, we'll likely have some budget transfers. The main reason for this one, there's two accounts that we're looking to transfer money into. One is special education private tuitions, and what we're trying to do with some of the unexpended funds is put it into the special education tuition funds to then be able to prepay sped tuition for next year, which will help us with our budget planning and our budget deficit for next year. So it's just a good way, it's allowed under the law to be strategic with your funds and looking at both years of the budget. The other line item that we're looking to transfer into is athletic salaries. These are, coming out of that line item is, of course, the coaches, the directors, and also from the bus drivers that drive the athletic runs. So, and this year we had a contract negotiations that impacted that. We had some changes with that after the budget was set. So we're just looking to make sure that we're not heading into the end of the year with a deficit. And there's still a few more payments to be made. It's not an annual salary that's easier to predict. So this is something that we might be coming back for, but at least this will get us through the next several payrolls. The line items that I'm looking to transfer from are ones that I can say, I think I discussed this also the last budget transfer, that at this point of the year, that I can say with almost certainty we won't be needing. For example, one is the grounds equipment snow removal. Fortunately, we didn't have to contract out for snow removal services this year, so that left funds in the budget. some of the other, the grounds that we know that, we're coming to the end, we're not going to need to purchase a lot of supplies anymore. Similarly with the central office accounts, and looking at it that way. So these are all line items that I picked specifically because, I know from the past few years that we will not be needing to expend for the rest of the year. So with that being said, I don't know if there's any questions on the budget transfer.
Joyce?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to note for anyone who's listening that these amounts, these accounts that you're transferring out of, they're relatively small amounts compared to what the accounts were to begin with. That, we don't have large amounts of money left over. These are just accounts that you're cleaning up.
Correct. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. That's all.
Anyone else with questions for Kristen?
The only thing that isn't a small amount, of course, is the green bar line of 83,000, which is related to special education. The last time we met, or maybe the time before, I lose track, we had incoming students that were going to significantly impact next year's budget. Do you have any updates on that?
We met with the out-of-district coordinator probably around the same time of the meeting. And, we still I don't want to say every day it changes, but certainly almost every week we have a change. Sometimes there's a student that's leaving, a student that's coming in, a student that we're determining whether we're fiscally responsible for them or not. We had some conversations about that today. So we have some students that we were able to take off the budget, but also some students that have some very expensive tuitions that are coming in for next year. So this particular transfer here, the 83,000 into private tuition, and you're going to see in the next meeting or two one for collaborative tuition from some unexpended funds, and that will be used to prepay some of these students' tuitions for next year. So that will help with the tuitions that, came to us after the budget was set. So that's going to help. Otherwise, we would have had to add, several $100,000 to an already existing deficit. So this is going to help us. The only downside to that is that these students will likely be here when we do the following year's budget. So we're buying time in the hopes that a lot changes all the time in special education.
What is the current deficit for next year?
I believe it's around 500,000 right now.
And when do you anticipate bringing to the school committee the solution to that deficit?
I'm sure by the May 20, the final meeting of the school year, May 29th, I believe it is.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We have a motion to accept the transfer.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 400. Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have report of the superintendent.
Okay, you have received the superintendent's newsletter, and I ask that you approve the bill and payroll warrants.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, 400. Thank you.
Okay, and I included a summary of each of my goals.
Do you mind if I just introduce
Sure.
that first?
Oh, sure.
Just I want to explain to the public that it says on our agenda that we're having a mid-cycle review. Initially, this was going to be the superintendent's final evaluation, but we revised the timeline and put the superintendent on a 2-year goal, so a 2-year evaluation cycle. So next May 1st will be, or around that time, will be your final evaluation. About 2 months ago, the superintendent did a mid-cycle review with us. So technically, we're just giving an update in a sense on that. And so the superintendent has shared his goals with us, and I'll turn it back over to you, Dr. DeAndrea.
Thank you. I included, for the school committee, I included kind of a summary of the school year, just a brief one, just to kind of highlight some of the things that have been going on in the district. I thought you might appreciate that. And then I hit on each one of my goals. I will tell you that I'm already going to share with you what one of my goals is for next year, and that is to get more comfortable chairs for us when we sit on the stage a year from now.
Yeah, yeah.
So that goal's already in process.
Second.
So, you know, each of my goals, I just want to maybe put a little color into each of them from what I shared with you. The preschool program at the high school is really moving along. We already have plans for to do the work right after school is let out, to put the bathroom in to the classroom. Some of the HVAC work has already begun. The staff has been identified. There's going to be training provided for the parents that are going to be in program and the staff. And so there's 15 high school students that have registered for the class. So it's, you know, there's a real good positive energy around that coming from both the high school and the elementary school, and I'm really excited about this program and what it's going to bring for our students. The EMT program, that's in place. We have the class is full. We're ready to go, and that'll be at the high school next year. Thanks to town meeting, we have the $200,000 to do the upgrades for the annex, so I'll be working with Eric Trahan for getting that going now that we've already identified the work that needs to be done, and now that we have the funding, and he's already done a lot of the pre-work to identify who's going to do the work and when, and now that we have the funding, we can really start moving forward with that. So that's very exciting. And then as far as my goal number 4, we made progress. We have great discussions with our evaluation subcommittee. I've learned a lot about the evaluation system from the perspective of our staff. It is valued very much about the feedback that they receive and the relationship they have with that individual that is evaluating and observing them, that can be very, very beneficial to them in the work that they've done. I think there's some contractual issues that we need to work through that I know we're working through that's going to be helpful for us moving forward. So that's my goals update for you, and I can continue to provide those as we go along. And like I said, I think there's some really exciting things that are coming out of them that are going to be beneficial for our kids.
Any questions or comments about these goals? Jeff?
With regard to the exemplary rating discussions, how would you characterize them? Was there a belief that essentially half of our teachers should be rated exemplary and we're just going to figure out how to justify it? Or was there any recognition that that was way beyond other contiguous school districts with respect to the percentage?
There was a recognition that it was high. There was a recognition that it was high. You know, the evaluation system that was negotiated back, I think it was about 2011, 2012, has a different rubric than what DESE has. And so as far as, you know, how that lends itself to how a teacher's rated exemplary or proficient, that impacts it. So I think there's really a lot of work if we want to talk about making changes to the system and how teachers are rated. I think it's going to be something that we're going to have to organize through the union by re-looking at the evaluation system, and that is something that needs to be negotiated.
So you're saying absent negotiations, we can expect, unlike basically any other district around, we can expect about half of our students to be considered exemplary.
You mean half of our,
Excuse me,
half of
half of
our
our
teachers?
staff to be considered exemplary.
I don't know if that's exactly what I'm saying, but I'm saying that there's, I'm saying this, that the evaluation system is something that is valued by the staff as being something that's beneficial to them. As far as how they're rated, I think that yes, if we're gonna have changes in that area, there's gonna have to be additional steps, and that's gonna involve some negotiations with this committee and the union.
I think the way I said it and the way you said it ends up being exactly the same,
I think you're correct.
which doesn't make me feel comfortable, but I'll leave that alone for the moment.
I guess we won't know for sure until we can see the evaluations from this year.
But that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with regard to, I know this isn't part of your goal, or maybe it's embedded in some of the goals. I recall you and Mr. Bajoli and myself and Dr. Chandler meeting to talk about the fact that we had 240 plus of our Wareham Elementary School students needing more help in literacy. And Dr. Chandler's report basically said we can get to 120 only by cutting the number of hours that they're going to be in summer school. I recognize that the difference between 3 and 6 does not mean that we're reducing the literacy focus by 50%, but they're still not in school for those 3 hours, and I gotta believe 6 hours has value, whether it's all on literacy or not. So I must confess that I'm very disappointed, and the idea that we cannot staff to meet the needs of our children is just very disturbing.
So there is a report that we will be providing, I think it's the 29th, about the summer school program. So,
Then I'll say
thank you.
thank you.
Okay, let's see, goals. That brings us to item number 9 on the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, did anyone have any other questions for Dr. DeAndrea on the goals?
I didn't have any questions. I just wanted to say thank you for the summary and the
You're
report.
welcome. Thanks, Trace.
All right, so item number 9, we have to decide and take a vote on the superintendent consulting services. So we received 3 bids or proposals, one from the Collins Group, one from Mask, and one from NESDEC, to help us with the superintendent search for not next school year, but the following school year. But that would start this fall. So we have heard from 2 of those groups. The third group, the Collins Group, is I'd say significantly more expensive than the other 2. So I was hoping that tonight we could decide on which group we're going to go with so that we can notify them and get them on board. So I'd entertain any discussion or motions, whatever we want to do first.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, looking at the proposals, and, you know, I heard we had talked about this, but I like the idea of going with Mask because it builds a better relationship with it. I know that April's very big, and unfortunately she's not here tonight, but she's a huge advocate for them, and it would just strengthen our relationship with them. They're a good association. And I didn't see all that much of a difference between what they offer and what was the other?
NASDAQ?
NASDAQ. They seem like pretty similar services, pretty similar price points, but we have the advantage, especially through April, of just a stronger connection with them. And I mean, I don't know how we're gonna do this, but I'll make a motion that we go with Mask.
Okay, thank you, Brandon.
I was just going to say, I appreciate that we had presentations from both of them. That was helpful. It was helpful to meet the person who would be our connection to Mask, would be the person conducting the search with us, right? Is that true? The gentleman who was here? Sean. Yeah. So I would second that motion.
Any other discussion? Jeff?
Yeah, I agree with my colleagues. I don't think that the differences between them are frankly significant at all, so there's no reason not to go with mask. I appreciate April's efforts to become more embedded into the mask organizations. I was for many years also very embedded, but to spend thousands of dollars to not get a significantly better service doesn't make any sense to me at all. I think the challenge will not be so much for a mask if we decide to go with them, as it appears we will. I think we're going to have to find, we're just going to have to hope that some really outstanding, creative, innovative educators see what we have to offer and want to come here and continue the work that our current superintendent has done. Unfortunately, I don't even think the data we're going to get from this year is going to be necessarily helpful because as Mr. Palladino said, and my guess is that Dr. Chandler would agree that the whole focus, the whole attitude of people towards MCAS has changed, which means that we can't rely on the data that is being generated. But I do think we're going to need a highly innovative, creative, and inspiring superintendent. We have all sorts of reasons to be concerned about public education. The latest one is literally a Supreme Court case that was just argued this week, which threatens to make every religion feel comfortable applying to run a charter school, which sounds so counterintuitive to everything I learned in civics, and I suspect Mr. Stanton probably teaches that, the separation of church and state, but views have changed. In addition to that, there's a bill in Congress that would give people a federal tax credit to send their kids out of public school to a private school, which is, so both of these things will make it that much more difficult for public schools to thrive and for public schools to, forget grow, just to maintain their populations is going to be increasingly difficult. So we are being challenged, however illegitimately in my eyes, in ways that we've never been before. So I hope we find someone that can help us meet that challenge. But bottom line is, I agree we should move ahead with masks.
Agreed. So we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 4-0-0. Great, thank you. All right, and our last bit of business tonight is to recognize a member of the school committee who has served for the past 3 years. He did not choose to run for re-election, and I understand his obligations to his family. But Brennan, I want to thank you. You obviously have concern for the community of Wareham. You wear your heart on your sleeve, and you continue to demonstrate that Viking pride. And so I would like to present you with this plaque, which says, in recognition of Brennan McKiernan for your dedicated service to the Wareham School Committee from May 2022 to May 2025, with appreciation for your commitment and dedication to the students, educators, and community. Thank you for your service.
You're a young man and you gave 3 years of your life to us, so we appreciate it.
You're not done with me yet. I do want to say, just to make a little speech about it, is that
Absolutely.
my plan is to go back into the community. I mean, even though I won't be on the school committee, what I was doing before I ran and why I ran is I was running a webpage called Wareham Helping Wareham, which I started during the pandemic, to really bring the community together and to do it ourselves. We are best when we work together at every level. Every organization in town works better when it's working with someone else. And the hub of it all, I think, is our school, because it's where we send our children. It's where many of us met. I mean, even tonight, Stu Tabor was recognized, Mr. Palladino was my gym coach. I mean, I know all these people in the school system, and I want to get the community back on board with the school, because you're right. With all the things going on, public schools are going to face an enormous challenge, and we cannot count that there's going to be, or at least we cannot expect that there's going to be a Supreme Court decision that saves it, or a politician from Washington that comes in and makes us better, or even, fingers crossed we'll get one, but we can't put our hope that there'll be a superintendent that comes in and can fix everything without us doing the work too. So, I'm not sure that this is the last time that I will be, on a school committee. I plan on running again. I just need to make sure I get my little guy who's graduating in 6 weeks less now, into college, and once he's squared away, you'll see me on the ballot again, because I believe in this town, and my son's going to be the 4th generation of McCannons to graduate from Wareham, and hopefully there'll be a 5th coming soon. And when that happens, I hope there's still a Wareham school district that is as dynamic and as concerned as all of the teachers that I've met and seen, and things that I've learned by sitting on this committee. I hope that that tradition continues just as much as every other tradition Wareham does. So you'll see me again.
Thank you, Brendan.
Thank you, Brendan.
I misspoke when I said we're almost done with business. I will accept a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of conducting strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel and contract negotiations with non-union personnel, and not to return to public session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 400. On to executive session. Thank you, everyone.
We staying here?